SoundCloud rapping like wasn't a thing for me. Otherwise, I probably would have had a page.
You would have hopped on there
For sure. At my school, I think some schools do it too. We had like a senior project, and like mine was like pass or fail, and it wasn't like extracurricular. You had to do it, but it was kind of like a, kind of like a little bonus thesis thing. But you could do it on anything, like anything. But you just had to write out what you're gonna do in pretty damn good detail, and then present it. And then you present it in front of a huge group. Like they invite the entire community there, like 100 people.
Okay.
My best friend wrote an album. We wrote a whole album. Yeah. And it wasn't rap, but if there's SoundCloud, I would have rapped. Oh, for sure, dude. Just flown to New York and sat outside P. Diddy's house.
So is rapping in the car literally like just like things you see as you go by as you're driving, or just whatever's on your mind, or I don't understand.
Or whatever's on the radio, or rap in the shower, or all that bullshit.
Are you making up rhymes? Or are you just Or
I'm performing. I perform real hard. I said this the other day too, because like Drake is known for having the most amount of ghostwriters, meaning people write his lyrics, which is like frowned upon in hip hop, but in rock and roll, obviously there's some bands that write their own music, but it's probably 50-50, right? 50% of bands never wrote their own music ever.
Yeah.
And they just perform it. If I had ghostwriters, I think I could be the next Drake. I can perform, dude. I can fucking perform. I just can't write like that.
I just don't have the skills for the writing.
Like, I probably could. It's just never something I really honed in or practiced. But car performing even more than car rapping. I think I'm number one in the world on the charts.
Like in my mind, I'm number one.
No, they would know too. It's just people don't get to see it. There's not enough traffic in Sacramento for me to have an audience,
Okay.
If you're a bumper to bumper in LA, I'd have an audience.
Well,
6 cars just staring at me.
I saw Hamilton again last night here in town, and there was an audience, let me tell you.
I bet.
And it's about like traditional Broadway kind of songwriting in it too.
Oh, really? I thought it was all rap.
Well,
They're
the
still
orchestrations
doing
are
can. They're still doing the can.
Not exactly. It's actually sort of modern dance-ish in some parts. Very like if you watch the dancers, you can kind of tell what's going on without actually listening to the. It's all very representational. There's a lot of shit going on. It's the busiest show ever. And it looked a little different to me this time. I've seen it. This is the second time I've seen it live, plus the movie. But some of the just fastest rapping in the world that Daveed Diggs did, you can see it in the movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie.
As Marquis de Lafayette rapping really fast with a French accent.
But even that, right? Like he didn't write it.
No, Lynn did.
Whoever
wrote it.
Wrote his rap. See?
When was the first time you went to go watch it?
We saw it the first time in 2019.
Oh, damn.
In San Francisco.
It was like during like the afternoon-ish?
Yeah.
I went to go watch that.
Oh, yeah.
You seen it?
Yeah, I saw it for free for like my theater class.
Oh, dude. Weird flex.
Hey, well, wait a minute.
I saw it for free.
Well, it's here in Sacramento right now, but it's the same basic cast. It's the cast that was in Puerto Rico with Lynn when they did the big fundraising thing.
That's what's up.
And it
was
was
a small world.
Small, yeah. It was in San Francisco for like, I don't know, 6-8 months or something like that, and then the pandemic hit and they closed down, and they reopened there and played a month, and now they're here another month.
Yeah, I bet San Francisco's going to open a little slower.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know if they're doing shows and shit.
Oh, no, they did.
Oh, really?
They were just there for a month.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. No, I think they're
moving.
Largely back open. Largely back open. Before we get started, I want to have just a moment of inception and shout out to More Plates, More Dates, who picked up on a commentary video by, what's the guy's name?
Oh, Nick Strength and Power, I think?
Nick Strength and Power from 2016.
There's a bunch of weird shit going on, because I think this is Fighter and the Kid's studio.
Yeah, I think so.
Which popped off but didn't pop off back then.
Yeah. That commenting on a video that we are in from the show that we used to do, and we recorded back in, I think it was recorded in 2016. I think it was around the Fit Expo.
It was around the Fit Expo. I don't know the year. But yeah, and I think it's in the studio. That was Fighter and the Kid, and maybe even Theo Vaughn's podcast at the time.
Sam, can you hit up number 4 real quick so people can see what we're talking about?
I just thought natty or not like wasn't a thing anymore.
I thought so too.
No
but
offense to my plates and dates, dude, but like
335,000 views, 12,000 comments.
it was a big website in like
3,000 comments.
2014. There's a big old website on natty or not.
Yeah.
Took every person that ever had a following and talked about their. What's the calculation? I forgot what it was called. Not BFI, but there's some calculation some dork made to say like yes or no guaranteed whether you're natty or not based on even a body fat percentage estimate, height and weight, and then you throw it in here, and if you're above like 29 or something, it's like impossible to be there natty. I'm like, dude, that's just the dumbest thing ever. Because like there's the bell curve, like the bell curve is always there. Like you're gonna tell me LeBron James, a full 6'8", and he was like 270 with abs.
Yeah. Yeah, a legitimate part of this, I guess, is the question of her abs. It's like a lot of it hinges on her abs. She's got like dude quality abs.
Yeah, but that's actually I think a bad argument.
Yeah, I know.
Most women hold fat in their limbs, and so like you can get a lot of like, especially CrossFitters. And no offense to my CrossFit ladies out there, you're beautiful, but they got shredded abs, and then they'll have a little jiggle everywhere else.
Right.
Like I would be more inclined to look at ladies' quads. Some ladies' quads or glutes are getting crazy striated, which is still possible, natural dieting, but they're that plus a big body weight. You know, they're sitting at 150 with striated quads and glutes. Now you're like, all right, this is a little strange.
Yeah.
But even still, there's genetic fucking freaks out there. There's going to be one or two.
I still have to say that I don't think I necessarily have an opinion one way or the other about Dana. I don't care either.
Yeah.
I mean, literally couldn't possibly care anymore or any less about anybody's status. I think that there's a certain amount of bullshit to claiming it if you're not, and I think there's a certain amount of insanity to fessing up to it when you are, if you don't want to run afoul of the law or whatever.
Yeah, I think the actual chances of getting arrested, that's the same as like coming on this podcast and be like, I did tons of cocaine. Like cops aren't going to knock on my door, you know? Like, so that argument I think is a little bit whatever. But the only issue I have is if you're trying to compete or whatever in a tested federation and you're on a bunch of shit, I think that's a little strange.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, especially in a sport that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
So that's a little bit of a lead into
Seabass being on tons of steroids.
Yep.
And competing
every week.
in USAPL, which is and kind of a in limbo status on the world stage because of their stance on steroid testing.
Yeah, which I don't know how it's working because there are U.S. people competing right now in the Worlds. I don't know what's going on.
I can't remember. There was a weird exception. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, maybe they're doing like the.
They're doing like I think another country, so like
even Russ. Is Russ win as like a Nigerian?
No, I don't know which country, but I was watching a Russ video and I think he had mentioned it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh shit, they
that's
found,
possible.
Like, a little loophole.
Yeah, it's
I was
possible
like,
because I do know Russ in particular is one over there. I think there's another U.S. I forgot who, but another U.S. athletes over there as well.
Russ looks amazing, and he's somebody that people would say, "Oh, that guy's on stuff."
Yeah,
but he's competing in the USAPL, so either he is not on stuff, or he's getting some kind of a backdoor testing deal. So
all these folks too, no offense to my dude Plates or Dates, great hair buddy, and also my boy Nick Strength and Power, but like what do these folks really know?
Yeah.
Like what makes you a steroid expert? Like and have you played elite real sports? No offense to my powerlifters out there.
Yeah.
But like Russ walked on to like Texas Tech.
Yeah.
The kid's a fucking freak.
Oh yeah.
Like I've played like against tons of pro basketball players. Like those guys are fucking freaks. They're gonna look different than me. Mm-hmm. If you're comparing them to the average wannabe bodybuilder in your gym, or even a quote unquote good powerlifter, they're still not the freak of the freaks. We're still up here in the bell curve.
Yeah.
Come over here to the side and look at a dude like Adrian Peterson. You know, like if you never played real sports or played, even Kyle, our GM at 3rd Street is a fucking freak. And like obviously he's retired and not lifting weights like he used to, but like Kyle's 6'5", was 200 pounds with a 36-inch vertical without training it. Like playing DB, like throwing 97 all at 17 years old. There's freaks out there that you folks just, it doesn't make sense just to point fingers. So like Russ is, I believe, 100% natural, and yeah, he looks absolutely insane. But like lifting is his life. He goes all in.
Right. This is how we get conspiracy theories too. Is that this is what the psychologists tell us. And people cannot make sense of what they're seeing.
Sure.
They would rather make up a story that fits the facts as they see them, but may have no basis in reality.
Yeah, I mean that's everything, right? Like something bad happens in your life or whatever, and all your friends are trying to help you and take care of you, but they just say like, it'll come when it's supposed to come. Like this, what are you learning from this? This is good lesson. Like that's just to make hope out of shit that you don't understand. Yeah, one day, think positive. It's coming. The darkest in the eye of the storm or some bullshit. You know, they just feed you all these lines basically to give you some kind of hope that like, rather than just like, Russ is a freak. I am not. And my life sucks right now, and maybe I can get out of it. Maybe I can't.
Yeah.
Maybe I deserve this. Maybe I don't. Yeah, karma. What's karma? And I know it's a religious thing back in the day, but karma for the average person is probably just a way to find hope. Be good and get good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of what we look at as religion and mythology and all that stuff is about like hope or
100%.
or damnation, just straight up damnation, especially for your enemies.
Yeah, to maybe fear or respect your way into being a good human.
Yeah.
Shit. I don't
I'm
know.
depressed the fuck out of myself. I'm gonna get out of here now.
Yeah, I don't know who's natty or not. I don't. And I don't know. Maybe Russ is. Maybe he's the only one. I don't know. I thought I saw another American, but it's possible. I think his family is straight Nigerian, so maybe he crept under there because there are USAPL lifters. Oh, the other one is a homeboy from Fresno. His Instagram, Keiko.
Legal lifting.
Yeah, League of Lifting is a League of Legends nerd. Shout out my boy. Last name's Keiko, I think. He's a 98 kg kid, strong as shit. Benches like 500, beast to beast. California kid. He's out there.
I know there's another flex boy also. What's his? It's like.
He is.
I think he
and he's tan. Maybe he crept into another nation somehow. If he just got a tan, he's just like, fuck it, dude. I'm competing for Honduras. I don't know. I haven't paid enough attention, but it is going on right now. So shout out to everyone. Safe travel, safe lifting. I think they're in Sweden.
Oh, really?
I think they're in Sweden, which is better than, I don't know where they were before. They're in some, I don't know if they were in a Stan or like a Georgia, or they were somewhere weird the year before, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I know that a lot of people had like planned to go and then just weren't able to go because.
Yeah, and the timing, right? It was like a month before. Like
right.
You're in prep. You already probably bought your tickets. Yeah, it kind of sucks for testing too hard, being too strict.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I wonder how many people lost money on that.
Oh, I'm sure tons. Because it's all like self-funded.
Yeah.
I think you buy your own shirt in the USAPL.
Probably.
The one cool thing, though, I did see is that I think the live stream is on the Olympic TV channel.
Oh.
Which is probably like a rare-ass fucking $1 billion package you buy from Comcast. But there is an Olympic channel, and yeah, I think it's on there. Which is cool.
That's interesting. Like maybe like NBC? Or?
No, I think it's like straight Olympic.com or Olympic channel.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Not aware.
Yeah. So I think you even mentioned why the Olympics, many reasons, but one reason the Olympics didn't get a lot of viewership because it was on 30 different channels.
Yeah.
I think the Olympic channel is one of them, where you're watching fucking, skeet shooting and shit.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Yeah, I think it's one of those weirdos.
All right. We are joined today by one of our members.
Yes, sir.
Sebastian Brambila.
I just go Sebastian Brambila.
Oh, Brambila. Yeah, I guess it depends where you're from.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're from Spain, I don't know if I can do it very well, but they got a big old lisp on there.
Oh.
Yes.
Like
Castilian Spanish.
Brambila. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Castilian Spanish has a lot of tongue and it has a lot of lispy stuff.
Probably tackling over 12 years of creating content or being in the fitness space, especially powerlifting, probably tackling at least top 5 questions I've ever been asked. And you even asked me it too. You added to the quantification or the multiplication of these questions being asked is, I got my first meet, man. You got some advice? Like it's a week out. I'm sitting at the desk chilling and Seabass comes up and says, yeah, man, the meet's here. Like, what do I do? What's up? What's the advice?
I started breaking down. I was so confident like a couple weeks before and then 1 week out, I was like, oh, shit. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
Please help.
How do I compete in this sport? It is so different because like even if most people in America like play soccer at like age 6 or something, and like you just figure it out, like you break the rules, but like you're in a game, you're in a competition, whistle blows, you're going, and once you do that for a year or two, any other sport you play is very similar. You go and play football. You go and play baseball's a little bit different, but it's still kind of an idea. Basketball, the whistle kind of goes or the horn goes, and then you just kind of play. Like you figure out the framework of the sport. The framework of powerlifting isn't like those sports.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more like maybe track and field. Or something of that nature, but even that you don't really normally do until like high school or maybe junior high, and some people never did. Like I never competed in track and field, so the framework, if you just show up to a meet, no coach, no nobody, you're like, well, now what?
It's completely different because I come from like a baseball background, and it was way different. That's like a team sport. It's just a solo sport, and I was just there like, please help.
You know how to lift weights? I've obviously seen you lift every day. Like you lift well, you're strong, your form's really good. But then, what do you do? What do I do at this actual meet? Yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah, and I don't know. I remember almost every meet that I ever did, including my first meet, started late.
Yeah, for sure.
They always start late not all, but many of them start late. USAPL is kind of less that way, but
they have like two different groups. They have a AM group and then like a PM group, and I was the AM group. So I woke up at 5 a.m. to go to weigh-ins at 6, and I was dead tired. Oh, and Edgar was my handler too, my brother Edgar. He was my handler, and I had to wake him up too. I was like, come on, let's go. Let's get it.
Yeah, sorry, pal.
He's over here. Oh, please, let's get another hour.
Yeah, that's part of the game too, and that's one thing that I think Westside actually does really cool. Although, I have varying philosophies in training for raw lifters, but they often have you two days a week in their max days or dynamic days. They have you train in the morning. They would like rotate around often, or we did as well. We had like weekends we train in the morning, and it makes sense because you don't know when you're going to compete. Because if you're the AM group, PM group, sometimes you don't get to decide. So if you're always training at 5 o'clock in the afternoon every single day, and all of a sudden you got a max back squat at even 8 in the morning, it's going to feel a little different.
That's a little tougher.
So I would say one tip for someone who's doing their first meet is find out, if you can, how that meet is going to run. Like you were in an AM session and then there was a PM session. Sometimes the flights can be really big, and it can be like it'll run the whole day will run. There are not like different sessions, but different flights have different numbers of people in them. Yeah. And you may or may not have a lot of time or a little time between attempts. And that makes a difference, especially if you're competing in wraps or whatever. But it also makes a difference for the mental preparation. Like, how long do I have to? Because that one was much harder than I expected it to be. Yeah. Like, how do I pull myself back together? How much time do I have to recover myself? Like, do I stop breathing deep or whatever? Versus
training, where you take as long or as little as you need in between your sets.
That's true. And one thing that I also noticed is my brother was handling me, and he's never handled anybody either. Right. Yeah. So I think I had asked you also. I was like, what does a handler do? Yeah. So I can give him advice. And he was kind of freaking out. He was like, let me load up some plates. Let me do this. There was other people there also trying to like help us a little bit. We would ask questions. We were just reaching out, trying to make friends.
Yeah, most people are cool. And that's another thing. Have you ever watched a meet live before this?
I think one time for like an hour.
Yeah, because that can help sometimes too. You kind of get the flow of stuff. And even me, I think I had spotted and loaded one meet and then coached one. They're like handled basically some of the team members before I competed. Mm-hmm. So it was like way less nerve-wracking because you kind of just get a vibe of the day. And in the back room, it can be chaos. Everyone's looking for plates and bars.
Running around.
Yeah. Am I up yet? Am I not? You got handlers looking at the clock, all this kind of stuff. What does a handler do is a really good question in like 2021, especially like raw lifters and like sometimes you don't need a handler. They can choose your weights and they can kind of keep you calm and then get you water and stuff. But like if you're not in gear and if you're not even doing wraps and if the meet's not that big, like sometimes like you go to like an expo or something, you're competing, like where you warm up could be 300 yards from where you're competing or something, so maybe like the handler needs to go run and check when you're lifting and stuff.
Sprints.
You're just kind of a runner. And sometimes it's just, feet away, but sometimes it's a good distance away depending on the location. A lot of meets used to be in like hotels and stuff like that. And I think they are here and there now, but otherwise, like, do you need a handler? Maybe not. It's cool to have a buddy there. Obviously it feels better.
Yeah, you get a little bit more support. Edgar was always... He was right behind me, always hyping me up. He was like, come on, you got this shit. Yeah. Let's get this shit.
Yeah, that helps to have a friendly voice. And there'll be people in the crowd maybe cheering for you too, just because everyone understands how nerve-wracking it is. But when you have somebody you trust, it can help.
warming up is a thing too, because like knowing what weights you're going to take before your first attempt is a thing. You personally need to know like how much warm up you need kind of going into it.
Yeah.
And you know, where you sort of practice meet scenarios in the gym a little bit and know what your normal progression looks like. And then you often have to find somebody to jump in with to warm up. Like, so somebody who looks like they might be using weights that are like, or you sometimes even ask and say like what's your top going to be or whatever. So you can, your last warm up is going to be, so you have somebody to throw in with.
Yeah, timing, that's really hard.
Yeah.
Maybe nearly impossible to do it perfect. Like, it's just because who knows what happens out on the platform. Someone gets injured or someone's, because you get like 2 minutes to lift. And so like if everyone's towards the end of the 2 minutes, your shit's going to be longer, obviously. Or if everyone's, kind of getting their lifts done in the middle of 1 minute and 2 or 3 people going to the 2, like you can't really time your shit that perfect. It's hard.
Yeah. Another thing that a handler is good for though is helping load
that's
weights,
what
like
he said Eddie was
spot
doing.
and all that stuff. And pace, obviously. Somebody who knows your training is going to do a better job, but not necessarily. Yeah,
that's where a coach does come to play. I can't imagine, and a lot of people still do it, but it was way more common back in the day. Just to compete. Like, don't have a coach, don't have a clue, because like Jim said, like how you train. Typically, how I coach or like compete is like every warm up I take. Although my opener in a squat might be 500 pounds out of meat, I'm probably squatting over 450 almost every training week anyways. So the jumps I get there every single week would be the exact same I would do in the warm-up room. Mm-hmm. But if you have like a coach that maybe don't really know what they're doing, or you have, athletes that don't know what they're doing, and 1 week you're going 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, and the next week you're going quarters in between or tens in between, like that's just going to mess up your flow. Like in training, I would take the exact same jumps because you're going to get above 80%, hopefully. I don't know. I don't want to talk shit. But, yeah, there's a lot. If you're not touching above 80% almost weekly in training, I don't really know what you're doing. Then you're not powerlifting, really, in my opinion. You're probably – and you can have a hypertrophy phase and all these things, but you should probably be touching somewhere above 80% weekly. And so the jumps to get to 80% should just be the exact same.
Yeah.
And just make that day – control the variables. I think I kind of talked about control what you can control because who knows what the fuck's going to happen there. Those jumps should always be the same. And – it can get weird because you might have kilos in the warm-up room or you may train on kilos. That's another weird obsession of kilos.
Yeah.
Is like...
We've talked about that a little bit before, but
yeah, it's like cool.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah, you got to compete in it, and that's cool. And like, again, if you're not lifting 600, 700, 800 pounds, it probably won't make that much of a difference on the barbell itself. But then like when you go to a warm-up room, unless you're at USAPL Worlds, you're probably going to be warming up with pounds again.
Yeah.
Right. So like the majority of your training is all in these kilos, hoping that you squeak out 10 pounds on this platform that doesn't matter. And then you go back to the warm-up room and you're going to be even more confused because your pretentious little ass wanted to train in kilos the whole time and wouldn't go to a gym without kilos.
Right.
And I'm all for specificity, but like I'm also for logic. And so like if you got to warm up in these pounds and now you're doing the math reverse and you're doing it in the most detrimental time, the platform's almost easier than the warm-up room. The warm-up room's chaos.
I think the platform is almost always easier, at least that was for me, than the warm-up
like
room.
Mentally, physically, all that. Like I'm way more nervous in the warm-up room. The chaos is everywhere in the warm-up room. Your jumps arguably matter. Obviously, they matter. Your attempts matter. Attempt selection is a bit of a science and a bit of a skill, but your attempt selection in the warm-up room is just as important. And motherfuckers just be throwing plates on there because they don't know what's going on because they needed the Alico set from fucking the 3rd Street Barbell. Bitching about it the whole time.
Yeah, and I think that's just the danger of thinking that things have to be a specific way when you compete.
Yeah.
Like I always have to have everything just right. I have to listen to my music this way. I have to do, like what if your phone dies or your headphones break or whatever? Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Not lift? Like that's not really an option. You have to keep going forward. In the same way, sometimes warm-ups get rushed. Or you get warmed up and then suddenly there's a long break.
Someone gets injured. God forbid.
And then and you have to be able to lift under those conditions. So you can't you really should be thinking about chaos and not about like a streamlined
or controlling yourself.
Experience. Yeah,
you can control yourself. Phone may die, your brain won't die.
That's something that I learned from you guys. I mix in. It depends how I'm feeling. One day maybe kilos, other day pounds.
Yeah.
see how the day feels.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad take either. You know, like if you feel really good and you maybe have a heavy single, you're working up to an opener, yeah, man, throw some kilos on. But if for you to be like paralyzed as a lifter because you can't find a deadlift bar, like, all right, broski.
Like,
and even the change between a deadlift bar and a stiff bar is way more drastic, in my opinion, for the majority of folks than kilos to not.
Yeah.
You know, like the kilos or not is such a silly thing. And especially when y'all are training at whatever gym and we don't even know what the plates weigh. Like we're lucky here and we splurged on like even our pound plates. That's the bigger thing to me is the accuracy of the plates versus a kilo plate or not. Like our plates are stupid expensive and so they're pretty fucking accurate to begin with. I mean if you're in a total garage gym and none of your plates match, if every plate's 2 pounds off, 5 pounds off, your top set could be 50 pounds off. That may be an issue.
That's a little problem.
Yeah, but just having the name Aliko on there ain't going to fix you. Seabass, what's one other thing that maybe got you on that day that kind of like maybe surprised you or was difficult or went easier than possible?
Ooh, that would have to be, well, at first, when I was warming up into the room, like you guys said, kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
Kind of nervous. Nerves started to ramp up a little bit. But once I hit that first squat, it all just ended. It ended fast. Yeah. I hit my first squat, and then it felt like 10 minutes later, I hit my last deadlift. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck?
Adrenaline. Son
I was like, what just happened? I was like, what the fuck?
Did your nerves kill a little bit after that first squat?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They were gone.
Yeah, that's kind of the typical thing, and that's why I tell everybody. It's kind of in sports too. Like, I mean, I've played, I don't even know how many basketball games in my life, and even to the very last game I ever played, like the tip off, my heart's going ape shit. But then as soon as I get the ball in my hands or I make the first play, and then you're like, okay, I've been here before.
For like baseball, I play outfield, and off the first hit to the outfield, I'm like, all right, got it. Let's get it.
Yeah, now you get to calm down, and I think powerlifting's kind of the same. And if it's not, it's kind of the Michael Jordan quote, like, you probably don't care. You should probably retire at that point. If your heart ain't beating a little bit, you know, he said he'll play until his heart beats. Does he get nervous every game? Like, yeah, because he cares. And so the day you don't care, and maybe that is cool for some folks, but going all calm and not give a shit.
I will say that in the multiply era, getting your first squat was like not always a given.
Yeah, for sure not.
because you're wearing the same amount of gear for all three squats, and they're progressively heavier. And you need to know at your current level of hydration and what your body level, your body weight level is, and all that stuff, what it takes to get you to depth.
Right. And what the hell you've been doing in training. Yeah, is much different in gear and not. Even have you hit depth once in training?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that when you cut, you probably didn't have to cut for this.
I actually did.
I yelled at him. Yeah. See, look at Jim's reaction.
He's like, "What the fuck?" I was closer to, I think 9, like, the higher class weight that I was.
Yeah, whatever it is now. They get so confusing. 94 kilo, maybe. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I cut down like 9 pounds, which was mad easy. Within a week, I was down like 5 pounds.
Okay.
I just cleaned up my eating.
Yeah.
Stop eating Doritos.
Yeah, stop eating like chips. Stopped like drinking. I just drank water.
He's playing Warzone till 3 a.m.
Got better sleep and all that stuff. Yeah.
So imagine if you did that all a prep. Fuck, dude, you'd be shredded and stronger.
I'll be something different.
What a thought.
So USAPL 2-hour weigh-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 hours before the start of the meet, necessarily the start of your personal lifting.
Yeah.
A lot of feds still do 24-hour weigh-in, and a lot of people are still cutting a lot of weight, and that process of bringing your weight back up, people find out that your weight doesn't always go back in the same places that it came from.
For sure not. Yeah, for sure. It's all such a weird conversation because it's still highly contentious in powerlifting, but then also fighting sports. Yeah, like MMA, UFC. I think you almost get like 36 hours sometimes, because it'll be like it'll be the day before or 2 days before, but it'll be like the nighttime, you know. So it'll almost because it's a show, or like when you weigh in versus like the weigh-ins for the show is all like kind of different. And I think they cleaned it up because they said no IVs and stuff now, which is like kind of a reverse psychology way to just stop the issue. Right? Like, or not reverse psychology, but like a reverse engineer way to do it. Like, you can't IV, thinking, and it is true, they won't be able to cut as hard because they won't be able to hydrate as hard. Yeah. So, and they have had less injuries lately. I think it was like 2018 or something. Everyone's fucking passing out and like missing weight cuts and shit. Yeah. But a simple one, why don't you just do 2-hour weigh-ins? Yeah. Just fight at whatever weight you walk at. Like,
which you weigh, yeah.
Right? Like, what in powerlifting, to me too, like, I get you can say cutting weights is skill, and it is. It's a science, and what you can endure beforehand if you really want to dehydrate yourself. But why don't we just cut that out of all feds? Just do a 2-hour weigh-in. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What's the point?
Yeah, speaking of UFC and MMA in general, Danny Castillo, friend of ours, one of the coaches for Team Alpha Male, his Instagram around fights usually includes how they get their fighters to weight. Yeah. And they do a couple of different types of things. I think the coolest looking one though is they're like laid out on the floor like a mummy wrapped in hot towels.
Yeah, you'll burrito up between hot soaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep the sweat going.
Yeah, amazing.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
That sounds
crazy. They're in hotels and they'll hot tub in their bathtub, and then basically you wrap up in a towel to keep the heat in you while they reheat the tub, because the water obviously doesn't stay cold that long, so you continue to stay hot. You just go dry to hot.
Oh, another crazy thing that I also like heard while I was in the weight room was
probably heard a lot of things, dude. You probably became a man that day.
There was some sus stuff going around, being thrown around.
Yeah.
But was one of the coaches was talking to a lifter, and he was like, "Yeah, I told you to drink this, eat this, like hours before. Or did you do all that?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was there like, "Damn," they're like, like days before, or like even weeks, they're telling them what to eat, what to drink, and they'll lose this much weight. Yeah. So they can weigh in. And I was like, that's crazy.
There's like good and bad ways to cut weight, and it's still like not new science, but new understanding. Like what people don't understand is molecular weight. And so like the weight of the actual food within the last couple days that you are eating does make sense. Like you want to mind fuck, and maybe this is just because I'm actually stupid and took a while to figure this out, but everyone's like, you eat like a pound of steak and like you can gain more than just a pound. Because like, calories are a thing, but that's long term. Yeah. Calories aren't a thing short term. Okay. It's more what the fucking food weighs. So you could eat, right, like 3,500 calories is a pound. Yeah. Right. 3,500, I believe. And so you eat 3,500 calories of M&Ms or peanut butter. Yeah. You're gonna gain a pound in like a week or whatever. That's a pound worth of calories, but that's not a pound. You go scale to scale. You scale before you eat the M&Ms, and then afterwards not, because of the molecular weight. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So leading up to a meet, you can keep calories higher by eating lower or more dense foods, because what other people used to do is like, oh, I'll just cut all my calories out. But then you're literally losing glycogen, you're losing energy, you're losing sleep, you're losing all these things just eating 1,000 calories a day for 7 days, rather than keeping calories a little bit higher. And so that's hopefully what that I mean, who knows what that coach in particular is doing, because motherfuckers are still crazy with weight cuts. There's some bro-ass science out there, but...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Some of that stuff probably not as necessary as you might think. And if it's a 24-hour weigh-in, you're actually better off really just crashing your weight and then bringing it back up by all what the bro science says.
Well, that's even the molecular food that I'm talking about, because you can keep calories just as high and keep your glycogen full by eating sugar, but you're just eating M&Ms. If you just trade your whole day's calories rather than eating 3,000 calories in a day of fucking salad, where your gut's all full, you change that to M&Ms and you'll end up losing weight. Yeah. Short term, Yeah,
for sure.
Or peanut butter or whatever the fuck.
Well, shall we take a look at this first squat?
I'm going to see how nervous he looks.
That
looks like a pretty dope meet. They got some signs going.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's stepping their game up.
100%. I saw some people like shout them out. They're like, this is like one of the better
that looks good
meets.
And shout out to our homie JP at a successful meet at the Showdown. Watched a little bit. Obviously saw a lot of highlights, and it looked really pretty. JP doing good work out there, buddy.
So I can't make this any bigger.
Compared to back in the day, I mean, I'm just so old now. I feel like a fucking grandpa, Like meets 8 years ago didn't look like this.
So this was the USAPL California State Championships meet, and
which means absolutely nothing, folks.
Exactly. we stole this. This was at Warcat.
Yeah. Shout out to Warcat.
Shout out to Warcat.
I don't know you, but Nadeem says he knows you guys, so I'll back you up.
So
they're all pretty cool.
Yeah, Nadeem said he went to high school with them.
So we're using
one of them.
Oh, really?
Damn.
Yeah. He knows one of the owners.
We're using this video in the same way that the more dates, more plates, more dates guy was using the video of the guy who used our video to make commentary
that was a little more
on Dana Lynn Bailey. Yeah, this is more. This is less Inception than that. So
The only thing is the orange tees. I don't know who chose orange. I don't know what. I mean, I've been a Cleveland Cavaliers fan my whole life, and they used to be blue and orange. And it's just really hard to rock. It's dudes on stage right now. Shout out to those boys. I know spotting and loading's hard, and I know you guys are working real hard, but y'all look like a bunch of fucking pumpkins.
However,
or carrots.
Yeah, just a fucking tall, skinny, spotting ass carrot.
However, and Sebastian may know this, that we're living in the City Connect era in baseball, where every team has a bizarre ass alternate uniform, and the Giants, theirs are white and a fucking bright orange.
Yeah,
and they've only lost one game wearing those uniforms. So.
I mean, that's fine for on field, but as a spotter, that tees, like a little relic here. I mean, I'm a fucking Browns fan. I'm not gonna wear a Browns jersey stomping around. I wear a gray hoodie with a little helmet on there.
So, shout out to the live edit here too, who's ever switching. They got
a little logo in the corner. Yeah, things have stepped up. Clean. How'd it feel afterwards? First one, feel heavy or nerves just shot up? It don't really matter what's going on.
Honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember what's going on.
That's the thing that people don't understand, too, is that when you go out on stage like that, it's like going out on stage anywhere. You don't really notice the audience that much.
Yeah.
You don't think about anything except what's in front of you and what you actually have to do. And heaven forbid that you should forget what the commands are. That would suck. But if you can focus on the head judge and nobody and nothing else, that's a pretty good approach, I think.
I don't even think I was looking at the head judge. I was just looking off into the distance.
Yeah, zoned out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of zoned out too.
What was the weight on this first?
It was 180 kg, I think,
402?
396.
396.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, 402 is the next one. That was not very good math on my part.
I had to look up in the corner. I don't know.
This is where I messed up.
What happened?
So I went from 396 to 4. I think this was 40.
Yep.
So it was
a
440.
Nice.
20 kg jump, which I
it's real big.
Yeah, which even the announcer said
whoa,
it. He was
Seabass got big balls.
20 kg. That's a 20 kg jump.
Yeah, normally, I mean, again, it depends on the game plan. If you're going for total, if you're going for a specific number or record and what you've done in the past, but typically you're taking a 5% jump on your final goal. And again, if you squat 900 pounds, that jump will be a big old jump. But if you're squatting 125 pounds, a 5% jump is going to be 5 pounds.
These spotters look like they know you.
You still hit it though.
Yeah, still hit it.
Yeah, that's good. What's your best squat ever before this?
Before this, I think I had hit 420.
Oh, so 20-pound PR.
Yeah.
On a crazy boy jump.
Yeah.
On a reckless jump. That's another thing, like you said, you float out and didn't really know how it felt and stuff. That's another reason, I guess, a handler or a coach knowing you as a lifter would help a lot. Because they just pick the numbers for you. They know how the speed goes because you're so in your head. You're nervous. You don't know. Sometimes weights could move really well, but it doesn't mean that you're hella strong that day all of a sudden. It's just the adrenaline's kicking and, or the opposite. Maybe you grinded some shit out and your coach knows oh, damn, Seabass was just nervous. We'll be okay with this next jump,
Yeah.
Yeah, they also can go put your number in for you because sometimes you have to sit your ass down after an attempt.
For sure.
No, that's one thing that I was also freaking out about because I didn't know that they had asked you for the number after you squat.
Right after.
Oh, yeah. So
you got a minute or something like that.
Yeah, they're I asked them, they're like, what's your number? What's your next number? And I was there I was like, Edgar, please.
480 pounds, sir.
Throw that on there. No, but and then I went to 451.
Yeah, a little gassed after this, or you hit it?
Yeah, a little gassed.
Yeah, it happens.
Halfway.
Whereas, in a perfect world, you would have taken 420 on the second and 445. You might have been chipped that PR afterwards. And again, it does depend on the total, or your goal. If your total's the goal, you played a little safer. But if you got a particular number in your head, you want to hit. In your first meet, the goal should just be enjoy yourself, don't get hurt. Go 9 for 9 as best you can. But now after this, now you have goals. So next time next time I would open the exact same, depending on how far away you compete. But say you compete in even 4 months, you could open the exact same. You could take 425, and then you just go 445, 450 on the third, and you go baby PR. You do on the next lift, baby PR. Next lift, baby PR. You got a total PR and a PR in all 3.
That's the smart way to do it.
Look, you do you, but
I think I was supposed to go 396 to 420.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then how I'm feeling,
Right.
441, 451.
Yeah.
But once Edgar had told me in the bag, he was like, "Oh, you put 441." I
Yeah.
was like, "Run with it.
Yeah.
Let's get it."
Yeah.
So
What are we
let's
gonna
go.
do now?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least you hit it.
Yeah.
It was good. It was clean.
This is bench number 1, so that's
253.
53.
Yeah. Which bench is one of my, I think it's my weakest.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Yeah, not a fan at all. I say it's because of my long arms, but
Yeah. We all got excuses, kid. All right.
exactly.
That looks like pretty easy
Yeah,
though.
yeah, that one was slight, and then the next one, a little harder.
I don't think I have the third bench, but I do have the second one.
Anything else come to mind that maybe surprised you in a good way or surprised you in a bad way from the entire day? Shout out to, like, if you had to talk to Seabass a week before he competed. Bless you.
Thank you. Oh, all right.
That's a good question.
Because although it's all new and, like I said, it's way different than other sports, it's not that crazy either. Like, it's not that complicated of a sport.
I would say how many first meet people were there.
A lot?
Yeah,
Really?
there were. I was talking.
That's cool.
I was talking around my weight class and a weight class above,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yeah, it's my first meet." I'm like,
That's cool.
"Well, that's what's up."
Yeah.
Let's get it.
That's actually surprising to me, considering I don't think there's a lot of meets running right now.
Yeah.
So you would think there wouldn't be a bunch of new cats trying it out, but
Yeah.
it is cool to see that people are still interested and still growing.
Yeah. So this one is 270. Yeah.
I was clean too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was lifting off for you the whole week before with about 275. It was a little rough.
Yeah. 275. I tried to hit 285
Yeah.
3 different times.
Also a little rough.
More than a little rough.
Yeah.
So I don't have the third one. What was your third
It
bench?
was 281.
And how'd that go?
It got stuck halfway.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically how it was going.
Found some turbulence.
See, your brother's trying to protect you and not sending the lifts that you missed.
Maybe.
He accidentally sent me the third squat.
Damn, dude.
So
Eddie's a liar.
He's
Scheming.
trying to protect my ego.
I know. We need to bust it down, dude. It's part of life.
well, I feel like you really do. I mean, it's a cliche, but you learn more from failure than you
Yeah.
do from success.
Yeah, you're going to learn something for sure.
Success makes you feel good, but failure
Yeah.
makes you either
Hopefully.
motivated or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, hopefully adjust. Yeah, I don't get that motivated by failure, but I do adjust.
This
was
is
like 420 or 440, something like that.
First deadlift.
You don't even know, dude. Clean.
Too easy.
Really clean.
I was gonna open up with 405,
Yeah.
but
Warm up room felt
but
good.
I was warming up and I was like, no, we're going higher.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the two ways on the deadlift. Either you feel real good because your day's been going good and you prepped well and you peaked well, and so deadlift you feel like you're smashing on your first meet or even other meets, or it's going to feel like death because you've never done all three in the same day, or it's been a long day, or it's been a quick day, and now you're like, fuck, I'm tired. This shit heavy.
That's the one thing that before I started getting coached, I would do SBD days,
Yeah.
heavy singles, RP 8, I would
Yeah.
say 9 maybe if I'm feeling a little extra.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really helped me
It
go
does.
through this.
That's what a lot of coaches have moved to, at least doing all three on the same day. They don't have to be heavy. Like, you could have one of them be heavy and the other two light or something, but
Yeah.
just getting used to benching after you squat and your back's tight and your hips are tight, getting used to pull after you squat, after you're a little fatigued in the similar muscles, super important.
Yeah. Here's my question to you, Mike, because I don't know the answer for you. What's your philosophy on warming up the deadlift in a meet?
Pretty similar to the rest of the lifts. Obviously, most people's deadlift is a stronger lift than their others. Often, not always, but so the number is higher, so your jumps will be bigger. But again, it's a percent game to me. I'm taking 10% jumps, maybe a little bigger from 0 to 30%, but 30 to 80, 85. We're taking 10% jumps, and then the last two will be 5% jumps leading up into the thing, and then same thing as on the platform. Open around 90% of our goal. Second's going to be a range, 94 to 96, depending on how fast we smash that thing, and then depending on the overall goal, whether you're going for a total, going for a deadlift PR, we'll adjust on that third number, hopefully.
I personally feel like, for me, especially lifting in gear, excuse me, minimal warm up on the deadlift.
Yeah.
Because it's very taxing to get down there. And so my last deadlift warm up might be 70%, something
Yeah.
like that, and you might have like, maybe 4 sets in warm up, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think lifting in gear, and then it makes a big difference. And then there's always slight variation in the personal thing. But for like a beginner, if I typically see if you do that, then you're going to get staple on last, because it's going to feel so heavy coming off the ground. And you're like, damn, I didn't know, my opener would be this heavy. But that's just because you didn't acclimate as much in the back. Yeah. But you competed a bunch, so you figured out in training.
Yeah, my thought was bigger jumps on the warm-up, smaller jumps on the platform.
Yeah. Yeah, and all of it is a balance game. Yeah. It's a balance of small enough jumps that you're acclimated to the weight you're about to pull without fatiguing yourself that you can't pull heavier weights.
Right.
And your squat attempts were actually perfect at that, right? You took a big old jump, and so then you're maybe not acclimated, but then you didn't have any gas left for your third attempt.
Yeah, for sure. This is the second pull?
I think
actually I got the first one again.
Yeah, smashed it.
Yeah, amazing. It's so good. Watching it one more time, it's like almost the same. Exactly.
And this is like 460.
Is orange the color of the gym or something? My bad, Warcats. Sorry to hate on y'all. Oh, maybe the San Francisco theme, because they got the Bay Bridge in the background.
San Francisco
I
theme.
get it. I was clean too.
Yeah.
What happened on the third? Just gassed out?
I think I jumped to, that was 460 something, and I jumped to 481.
Just too much? Sounds like a
we
decent jump.
We sent it.
No, that sounds like a decent jump. Because that moved well. I would have probably done the same for you.
Yeah.
460 to 480.
I got it like a little bit off the ground, but at that point, I think I was just too gassed.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Yeah.
It's a long day. And like Jim said, depending on how the things, I think the USAPL is the main one that still just breaks it up. Like A session, B session in 2 different days. But when to eat, when not to eat, that's kind of the negative and positive of the 24-hour weigh-ins. Is like often those style of meets have a longer day, so you might be able to get a full meal in, where a lot of USAPL meets you can't really get, like, you can't get a burrito in. No. You know what I mean? You can get some like peanut butter and jelly maybe or something, but like you can't get a real meal. Or if you're competing in these big old meets that go all day, you can get a whole meal in probably after bench or probably after squats. A great time, because bench doesn't fuck with your tummy as much.
That's another thing that I noticed. Edgar also noticed this, that not everybody, but a lot of people pulled up with like their own like full course meals.
Yeah.
Like rice, steak, or like pho, and I'm just there like, what is I'm over here with a PB&J sandwich.
Yeah, that's something I don't know if I gave you advice on. I should have probably been a little more particular, but I feel like that's like, what do they say, majoring in the minors or whatever. Like, food's an issue, but it's not always an issue. Like, it's not going to make or break your first meet. It can make or break a record or make or break like a big PR down the road. But a lot of stuff is just get calories in and get calories that are good with your stomach. Because you don't eat peanut butter and jelly all the time, and then all of a sudden you're slamming PB&Js all day. You're going to be shitting your brains out by come deadlifts, or the opposite. Like, oh, yeah, and then you just go to the food truck because that's what's out front. Yeah. But if you're not used to eating tacos or a burrito, you're trying to get that in between lifts. That's a big thing, to bring your own food. Or chips. Like, if you like chips and it's good with your stomach, get some salt and get some carbs, and it's not that big of a deal. That's where, like, a lot of foods, they've kind of become memes, and it's funny how you see things go in circles. Like, there's a huge TikTok trend to eat Rice Krispies before you lift right now. I'm like, dude, motherfucker's been eating Rice Krispies forever. Like, well, it's just like, it's like a low fat, high sugar food that's easy to digest. Like, why are gummy bears or like sour strips and like those kind of foods a thing for lifters? Same idea. Really low fat, really easy to digest. You can handle it all the time. So people just be eating gummy bears their whole workout. I think it's slightly overrated, because like in a workout, powerlifters don't really move that much. And so, like, you're not really depleting your glycogen. It's not like you're running a marathon, you need a gel pack, but it is something easy to get in during meet day when it is a longer day.
That's true.
Yeah, and a lot of people used to do, I don't know, some people still do, like immediately after their weigh-in on a 24-hour, they just start to eat like everything in sight, and which is a really good way to get diarrhea.
Yeah, just jack it all up. Yeah, and if you're just eating all that right then, and it's just trash, like, you're probably not going to eat in 2 hours, and you're probably not going to eat that night. So did you really replenish anything?
It's hard to keep eating, and you might end up eating, like you said, less.
Yeah, less overall calories, less overall anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have great confidence in the using IVs to get back up and having that actually work out all that well. Because
I've never really tried.
I think you dump a lot of that stuff anyway, because your body's like searching for its equilibrium, and you're just going to dump a lot of
possible
the fluid out, just pee it right out.
Possible.
Anything else we want to say on this topic to wrap it up?
I think we're wrapping. Anything else pop into your head during that day? Good, bad, or the other? For all the young folks out there, obviously there's a bunch of people still trying to compete, new competitors. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun.
Really? So you're going to do it again?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I already have like a little plan structure for next year. I want to compete in the beginning of the year, in the middle, and in the end.
Yeah, dope. That's perfect. I mean, 12 months, 1 to 3 meets a year is about how you can, depending on how strong you are and how many years you've been lifting, but that's a really good range to kind of get an idea in. Because same thing with how we were talking about, like not fatiguing yourself while still being to be warm and acclimate to an attempt itself. Competing is kind of the same, where you need experience competing to get better at competing, but you need training to get stronger. So the balance of how often you compete is a big deal as well.
That, and then just compete.
Yeah.
If you want to compete, just do it. Doesn't matter like if you want to set a record, just go out there and just compete.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's the right attitude.
Yeah, that is really good advice. Because again, like, and if you like competing or don't, you won't know until you try it. Exactly. And then you want to hit all these PRs, or say you're a 315-pound bencher, like, go do it in a meet, and then you have a standard, and then you can do you can beat yourself, and you can have gym lifts. That's cool too if that's your thing. But if you want to be a lifter, you kind of have to dip your toes in.
We have any comments in the chat at all? I haven't looked. Okay.
Damn, dude, a bunch of irrelevance in our chat. Sorry, boys. I think you're relevant. So does your mom, but Jim doesn't. Sorry, kids. Shout it out, Seabass. Where can people find you, dude? Hey. Plug the Instagram. Plug your private Snapchat and your SoundCloud.
Hey, the OnlyFans? Nah.
Yeah,
Instagram
make that money.
is Sebastian_Brambila. Brambila is Brambila.
Appreciate you hanging out with us, buddy. One of our core members here at 3rd Street, and it's cool to have you. You did pretty good, man. Look at you. He's a young gun too, talking on the podcast. Could have been nervous, but you came in and crushed it. No, you killed it. You killed it. Ladies and gentlemen, 3rd Street, barbell.com, 3sb.co. I'm Silent Mike. Everyone want to find me. Hopefully, new drop coming soon. We're working on things. Hopefully, a couple things to announce soon at the gym. If you're in Northern California, hit us up. Come stop by, and we'll catch you next Wednesday.
I am at the Jim McD on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, 4% is a word, and 50 is just numbers. And you've been in very good company with us here, and we'll talk to you next week.